minutes. Good morning. I request the audience to kindly settle down. We are going to begin in the next 2 minutes.
Sanjeev Keskar.
Of course, of course. Please come. I mean, please, will wait for Mr. President. We'll give it a second and then we'll start.
Yes.
President. बैठिए sir, आप बैठिए. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industries and Agriculture, Pune, I, Anagha Natekar, welcome you all to the Semicon Next 2024. We have here today thought leaders from various sectors to discuss and deliberate on the trajectory of the electronics industry, focusing on pivotal topics such as entrepreneurship, workforce development, and governmental policies. Let us begin by felicitating our esteemed guests for today. May I request Mr. Deepak Karandikar, President MCCIA, to felicitate Mr. S. Krishnan, IS, Secretary, METI. And also to felicitate Mr. Arvind Kumar, DG, STPI. Thank you, sir. And I request Mr. Prashant Girbane, DG MCCIA, to felicitate Mr. Pradeep Chandran, IS, Additional Deputy Commissioner, DOI, Government of Maharashtra. And also Mr. Sanket Bhonwe, IS, JS, METI. Thank you, sir. To kick off the day, may I request Mr. Deepak Karandikar, President MCCIA, to give the welcome address.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome to the Semiconductor Ecosystem Conference 2024. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to have you all here at the Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, commonly known as MCCIA Pune. First, let me extend my heartfelt welcome to our esteemed dignitaries on the dais. Shri S. Krishnan, Secretary METI, Shri Arvind Kumar, Director General STPI, Shri Sanket Bhonwe, Joint Secretary METI, Shri Pradeep Chandran, and other distinguished guest speakers and participants. Sir, the MCCI, founded in 1934, has always been at the forefront of nurturing economic development in the region. With over 3,000 members, we are one of the most active, largest chambers of commerce in India, and as we explained, best of governance. Our mission is to promote and protect the interests of industry and trade, and to support economic and industrial development in Maharashtra. Hosting the SEC 24 is a significant milestone for us at MCCIA. The semiconductor industry is a critical driver of technological innovation and economic growth. As we navigate through the rapid advancements in technology, the importance of a robust semiconductor ecosystem cannot be overstated. From powering our smartphones to enabling advanced medical devices, semiconductors are at the heart of every modern technology. Today's discussions at this SEC 2024 will pave the way for new strategies and initiatives that can drive growth and innovation in the semiconductor sector. I'm confident that today's deliberations will be fruitful and inspiring, leading to meaningful collaborations. Let us work together to harness the power of semiconductors and drive the next wave of technological advancement and economic growth in our country. Thank you once again for being here. Let's make this conference a great success. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Prashant Girbane, DG MCCIA, to give the opening remarks.
Thank you, Anagha. Respected Secretary Shri Krishnanji, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries in the audience today. So there will be a lot that will be discussed about electronic manufacturing, semiconductor ecosystem today, so I will not touch that topic. I'll only say welcome to Pune, sir. Welcome to Pune, a city that hosted Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, who set up Swaraj. A city, welcome to the city, sir, that hosted, or that was seat of Peshwa Bajirao, who made it a Samrajya. Welcome to Pune, sir, a city that gave birth to many, many freedom fighters who contributed in our nation's independence. Welcome to the city, sir, that contributes great to economic development and manufacturing and IT services. Just to put it in numbers, in today's era, so that I don't go back to centuries again, Pune is number 5 in the country, sir, when it comes to manufacturing goods exports or merchandise exports. Number 5, sir, out of the 805 odd districts. So when it comes to engineering goods export, this Pune district is number 1 in the entire country, sir. It's one easy way to get claps is talk good things about your own city. Thank you so much, guys. You all support that. Welcome to Pune, sir, which is about one of 9th, 10th city in the country when you look at geography. But one of the top 6, if you talk to your friends in Ministry of Finance, sir, because they'll tell you that in terms of tax contributions, it's one of the top 6. So if you talk to your colleagues in Ministry of Finance, they'll tell you, Ministry of MSME, they'll tell you that largest number of registered MSMEs come from this city. So if you talk to the newly set up GEM, they would tell you that in the government e-marketplace, the largest number of MSMEs are from this city, Pune. So this city, Pune, is not just about what this city does. This city is about, or this district is about what we do it here, and how we also help others to take lessons from here. And we are equally open and humble to learn lessons from many others. That's the only way for us to continue to grow. The second bit I want to mention, sir, this city also has a culture of coming together. Right since Lokmanya's era of coming together and celebrating Ganpati, and we still do one of the best ones. Or coming together to listen to Savai Gandharva, or to come together in Bal Gandharva, or to come together in such a conference to listen to erudite speakers like the secretary and others. This city knows how to come together. And it's very interesting because it knows how to come together. Because it knows how to come together, it comes together and sets up a cluster for food processors. About 250 food processors help over 20 odd years. It knows how to set up a cluster for auto component that helps about 600 companies over about 20 years. Because it knows how to come together, it goes to METI and requests METI that if you help us and fund us, we would be able to set up an electronic manufacturing cluster, which is based in Bhosri and is already helping about 100 companies today. All of this thanks to METI. A round of applause to Team METI that has come forward to help us, and that's almost ready and set up is kind of there, which is serving companies. I won't take much time because there is a lot of erudite speakers, we need to listen to them. There'll be a lot that will be discussed today. But as we got help from the center, we also got help from the state. We got help from MIDC and Industries Department, which is also supporting the MECF, and we have representatives of state as well here. The conference today that will focus on fabless ecosystem, semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem, skilling and scaling. There is a whole lot, and there's a whole lot that we'll get to hear. As much as you are keen to listen to it, I'm also keen to listen to it, so I must stop here. Once again, welcome to the Secretary and all of you dignitaries, and thank you so much for coming here. I'll hand it over to the anchor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May now invite Mr. Sanjeev Keskar, convener for today's conference, to set the context.
Thank you. Good morning, and first of all the dignitaries on dais, namaskar, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is really pleasure and honor to be here with you. This Semiconductor Ecosystem Design Group, which is formed in Pune, of around 20 people is very passionate group. And last 2 months, we are working how to really set up this first conference. And really everyone has put in so much of efforts and energy to really put together one of the best event. You will see the agenda that we have best line of speakers throughout the day today. And also we would like to thank Ajay Srivastavaji, STPI. He was involved from the first planning session, and Prashant Joglekarji of MCCI, and Ajit ji was leading the team. So what I'm going to do, I just want to give you an overview. Where is semiconductor industry heading globally and India, and then what we should be doing in Maharashtra. So I'm just going to take 3 minutes, but mainly going to cover these two topics. So as per McKinsey report, semiconductor industry which was $590 billion. Last year we saw a dip, it reached to $560 billion, but by 2030 forecast is we will be crossing $1 trillion of semiconductor industry. Typically semiconductor contributes 25% of electronics. That means electronic industry is going to cross $4 trillion by 2030. So we are going to witness almost 100% growth over next 6 years in this sector. And India is growing even much faster, because last year electronic consumption in India was $120 billion. It is expected to grow to $300 billion. And India's semiconductor market, which was $30 billion last year, which will be touching almost $100 billion in next 5 years. So, and now with the government focus on electronics manufacturing and semiconductor manufacturing, we are going to witness really exponential growth in India. Let's understand the ecosystem of semiconductor value chain. 20% value is into VLSI chip design and EDA. 20% value is in wafer fabs. 10% value is in ATMP OSAT. And 10% value is in component distribution system. And 40% is average profit in this industry. Today, India is doing great in VLSI chip design center. Top 30 semiconductor companies have their captive design centers in India. Our design services companies are doing great design services work from India. But we get jobs. We do work for someone else. There are very few fabulous companies in India who are creating IP and technology for India in India. So there is a great talent, but that talent is working for global companies. And moving forward, that needs to be changed. We have to really start developing chips from India. So that is one of the charter this particular group has decided to focus on. With ISM policy, where 50% incentive is coming from MIT, 20-25% incentive coming from state governments, our semiconductor policy is taking excellent shape. We have seen Tata announcing wafer fab, we have seen Micron setting up ATMP, and there are almost 10 proposals in front of ISM for approval. So I am very confident with the semiconductor policy we are going to witness in next 3 to 4 years. Lot of fab and manufacturing activity will happen. But the next portion, distribution, we are missing. Today, all the $120 billion whatever manufacturing we have done, most of the components we have imported from Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, and Japan and Korea. Okay, we have to really create a solid component distribution hub in India, because that is creating a disability for Indian manufacturer of around 5 to 6%. See, we are paying freight, we are paying inventory carrying cost, our cost of finance is more. So all these add up. If same $1 part we are taking in China and same $1 part in India, there is a disability of 5 to 6% for India manufacturer. And that can be addressed by creating a component hub in India. So there is a proposal which I am working with Karnataka state and also with Kushwaha sir. So we'll work on that. What we have done, there is a task force where I was a part of member, and we have done analysis of top products which are getting consumed in India. These products consumes almost 80% of our TAM, total available market. And then we have put together what chips needs to be developed to cover this 80% TAM. So there is a list of priority chip, second priority, and third priority chip. So my request is, when we have now design link incentive scheme by Ministry of Electronics, our priority should be to develop these chips, because these are required for Indian market and also for global market. So we should be developing these chips for these application. Now this last slide talk about, in our brainstorming of this group, what should be priority for Maharashtra or Pune? Okay, where we should concentrate or prioritize. So first and foremost, when it comes to semiconductor manufacturing, let we create an ecosystem in Gujarat for big wafer fab, but compound semiconductor is a very big segment, photonics, optocouplers, RF, discrete semiconductor, MOSFET. Okay, there is a huge opportunity in compound semiconductor, and investments are not $4 billion, $5 billion. We can do a compound semiconductor project in 100 million with 70% support coming from center and state. So only 30% investment is required. So I suggest we should focus on compound semiconductor manufacturing in Maharashtra. Second thing is creating a VLSI COE, Center of Excellences. We are in discussion with Ajay sir to really do something in STPI Pune, where we can create that fabulous ecosystem and create entrepreneurs to develop that fabulous chip center. The third thing is setting up a component hub in Maharashtra. There is a new airport coming up near Panvel, and you also have a free trade zone near that. So we should set up a component hub in that area. And fourthly, it should be about the silicon carbide fab. Sir, we have set up a gallium nitride fab in IIC Bangalore. Similar way, if we can set up a silicon carbide fab in Maharashtra with support from MIT and Maharashtra state, that will be another great initiative. So these are the 4 priorities our group has discussed that we should be targeting to create an ecosystem in Maharashtra. And we have great lineup of speakers today, and we would like to hear their point of view also. Thank you very much, and once again, welcome to this conference.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Pradeep Chandran, IAS, Additional Development Commissioner, DOI, Government of Maharashtra, to deliver his special address.
There's a presentation. I can directly speak also, no? So, good morning. My name is Pradeep. I am Additional Development Commissioner, Industries. I am from Directorate of Industries. So my talk will be about from the Government of Maharashtra Industries perspective. Everybody who is here are already aware of the electronic sector features. I don't need to repeat, it is this much percent of India's GDP, 2.5% of India's GDP, 3.6% of this and all that. So I'll just get straight away to the policy issues. Our current electronics policy, which was launched in 2016, is still in place until the new electronic policy will come, which will come out this year. We are conducting stakeholders consultations and benchmarking with other states, but since the policy is still in draft stage, I will not say anything out. Otherwise, since things are being recorded, it will sort of become set in stone. But from our last electronic policy, our target was about 3 billion investment and 1 lakh creation of 1 lakh jobs. During our last policy period, we have approved about 5,000 crore worth of projects, and most of it was in Pune. Most of these electronic projects was in Pune. I think even Wipro had signed up a project in Satara, I believe. So this electronic policy, of course, the incentives will tend to continue, the stamp duty incentive, the interest incentives, the various subsidies, the power subsidy, the GST reimbursement, and of course, it has also been given essential service in the previous policy itself, where now electronics will come under the Essential Service Management Act. So that will of course continue, and the speakers before me have also told about the various MSME scenario also. Maharashtra has the largest amount of registered MSMEs in India, about 45 lakh, and most of them, as he said, are concentrated in Pune and Mumbai metropolitan region. Curiously, almost 20% of our MSMEs are owned by women, which is the largest, but for some reason Maharashtra doesn't have a separate MSME policy. Various other states have it, like Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, but currently now Maharashtra is also working on an MSME policies which will greatly address various issues faced by the MSME segment also. Most of the MSMEs, of course, have issues with access to finance, which will all be addressed in this
helping them against global shocks like COVID or let's say a war like Ukraine war, which disrupts supply chain. So certain things are being worked out into the policy, like expanding the scope for insurance. Currently, we only provide insurance for the first shipment, but this is also being worked out. So from the government of Maharashtra perspective, we are trying to create policies to address the issues of electronic sectors, the ESDM sector, the MSME sectors. All of these policies which will be coming out this year, slightly they have been delayed due to elections, general elections, and of course Maharashtra goes to polls this September. So just before that, we'll try to release at least one or two policies. But again, from our side, Maharashtra does have certain strong macroeconomic indicators. We are second largest in exports, 17% of India's export. We were recently number one until Gujarat overtook us a few years back. We have been consistently first in FDI for the last few years. 1/3 of FDI comes to Maharashtra. We are 14% of India's GDP. So Maharashtra does have very strong macroeconomic indicators. On top of that, we do have a policy-driven initiative where a lot of policies with various incentives are being worked out. Along with this, of course, we are also pumping a lot of it for infrastructure. As Keskarji has said, there is a new airport coming in Navi Mumbai, and of course the Vadhavan port, which will increase Maharashtra's freight capacity to more than 40% of India's freight. So Maharashtra is pushing in from infrastructure side also, and then we do have, of course, from demand side, we are a very high per capita income state. We have the largest number of internet users. And then 43% of India's electronic sector is in the mobile handset manufacturing. And then from the demand side, and then from the supply side, Maharashtra does have a very large skilled manpower base. We were ranked number one in the highest employable talent recently, and Maharashtra has consistently scored well in ease of doing business. So with this, various things, policy-driven initiatives, a strong push by the state government, especially under our guidance of honorable ministers, sir, deputy CMs, and chief ministers, and of course our commitment to infrastructure growth and policies. We hope the ESDM sector will greatly improve in Maharashtra. And I also wanted to use this platform to also mention about certain things which we have done for ease of doing business. Maharashtra has brought in a landmark Maitri Act last year, the Maharashtra Investment Trade Facilitation Act. This, unlike other states, any permissions, approval which you have applied with any department, if it is not granted within the timeline as mentioned in the Right to Services Act, the application will come to an empowered committee which will grant it. So this will ensure finality of applications, finality of approvals, and finality of permissions. This has been a long-standing demand from industry people that their permissions many times takes a longer time than what is given in the RTS and has been kept pending for various reasons. So this ensures finality of services. So that is from my side, and I would also like to take advantage of this gathering to invite everyone for Magnetic Maharashtra, which will probably be in the month of August, which is our primary investment summit. So thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, sir, for giving an overview. I now invite Mr. Sanket Bhondwe, IAS, Joint Secretary METI, to give his special address.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Dais, all the members of the forum, stakeholders, friends. Actually, I'm very happy to be here, being born and brought up in Pune. I studied in Pune. I did my MCA. I work in Infosys, so that is how I am related to STPI, where it's a Hinjawadi IT Park set up by STPI. I work in Infosys in 2004. And also I can say that as a citizen of Pune, I am also related to the Maratha Chamber of Commerce. So the both way I am here. So in this today's conference, Semicon Next, we see that Pune as an IT hub have grown up rapidly. We all know about the prowess of Pune, the cultural capital and all. For me, my past experience when I was a PS2 minister, so Pune we invested almost 2 lakh crores in the physical infrastructure of roads. So that is how I came to Pune, and I was knowing all the problems and all. And let me tell you that recently that new terminals have come up in Pune airport. Lot of meetings took place for the terminal, and I'm so happy that yesterday the new terminal have come up, state of art, almost 52,000 square feet. And it's like 3 times the old terminal space with like 10 aero bridges, 5 new aero bridges. So for each and every aero bridges, we have to take a meeting, we have to talk to the military personnel for the space, for the cargo, and also the state-of-art baggage. So what I mean to say is that Pune is also progressing slowly. I know there are challenges, limitations, but yes, we are coming up very fast. And today, from the national highways to the digital highways, as Joint Secretary Digital Governance, I'm happy to be here. I thank Krishnan sir for sparing your precious time to come to Pune, the lovely city of Pune, and be the chief guest today in the program of Maratha Chamber of Commerce. As Joint Secretary Digital Governance, a lot of things which are coming up, which I can mention, like the semiconductor is the point today. A lot of people will speak. I saw the whole schedule, which will go around whole day. So let me tell you, I will mention some 2 or 3 digital governance projects which we are doing. One is the e-passport. So we are just reviewing like there are some 11 crore passport holders, and all will be getting the e-passports with the inlay, with a chip and the antenna like the inlay. So what I want to say is that there is a huge demand now. And we know that we have like a good talent in some chip designing, but we also need a lot to come up with the manufacturing and all the ecosystem way. And I think today the Maratha Chamber of Commerce is working rightly in the direction to create an ecosystem where these chips and all, how we can manufacture, design with the right talent pool and all. Also with the cloud network coming up, the data centers, the mobile industry and all, I think chips are like the most important part. I think semiconductor, chips and the jet engine, these are the 2 domains where critical complex manufacturing ecosystem is needed to form the purest of clean technology with silica, water and all. So this is where I think we all should come together and see how we can go ahead. I will give one more example of FASTag. So in the earlier ministry, we started FASTag, RFID, radio frequency identification chips. So in 2018-19, it was the start. And it was like we were reviewing daily, कि आज 10 लाख सिर्फ FASTag issue है. That was the start. And COVID then gave a boost to the FASTag policy with all vehicles making it mandatory. And today there are like 10 crores FASTag issued. And the daily collection is 200 crores. And the government of India is getting annually, I think, more than 60,000 crore only from the FASTag toll collection. So again, this is one example where, as I work in North, I will just mention it because this is how technology can be an enabler. And I think for a good ecosystem, Pune is actually a logical good choice with a good human capital, good financial capital, and technology as an enabler. Yes, we have a good setup. And just before this, we were discussing, and Prashantji and all his team was giving a presentation. So governance, this is what governance is very important. For anything to stand up, apart from these 3 pillars of human capital, financial capital, and technology, I think governance, the innovation, the will is very important for something. Because in PM Gati Shakti, like the Ministry of Electronics and IT, MITI, so funnily they call us MITI also, MITI. We are doing some common clusters and all, and Pune, what we saw in the morning presentation is doing a really fantastic work, and we really appreciate. And I'm also very happy that STPI today is coming up with an MOU with Maratha Chamber of Commerce, where now it will be an institutional setup to go ahead, and that will really make things move fast. 2 days back, I was in Aurangabad. I also visited the STPI Aurangabad, and I was just going through it, and Aurangabad also coming up very fantastically. Let me tell you, in Chikli, MITI, our ministry is also coming up with a data center in Chikli. We have a land there. So, as all in India, Pune also is our priority. So I think we have the legacy, the brains, the talent, the designing capacity and all. So I think today's conference is a right forum, the correct forum where we all are here. I thank you all again. And now let's make, as Pune is called the Oxford of the East, we can definitely make Pune the Silicon Valley of the East. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Arvind Kumar, DG STPI, for his address.
Good morning. Secretary to Government of India in Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Sri S. Krishnan sir, my colleague in MIT and Joint Secretary, Mr. Sanket, other dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Ashok Chandak, President ISA, dignitaries of the dais. It's really matter of privilege to be the part of this conference on semiconductor ecosystem at Pune. And I think no one could be better chief guest for this event other than Secretary Mighty, who is from Tamil Nadu and responsible for, highest number of manufacturing unit in the country are in Tamil Nadu. So I think his tips for Maharashtra will definitely take you all in the long way. I'm sure Maharashtra, under the aegis of Maratha Chamber of Commerce, will excel in technology sector also. Now, because next 10 years we all say that this is going to be for technology, like they have done in many other industries, whether it is pharmaceuticals, whether it is petrochemicals. Maharashtra has always led in those industries. I think same trend could be in the technology as well. But I would like to mention 2-3 small things. As of now, when it comes to technology, there are 3 trends which is emerging in this country. Trend number 1 is, now innovation is coming from tier 2 and tier 3 city as well, which was limited to tier 1. This is the one trend which is emerging in big way in this country. Second trend which is coming in big way in this country are now startups which is coming are in deep tech as well. They are tech startup, not only the conventional startup. This is the second trend which is now coming into this country. And third trend which is on electronic manufacturing. So which is, and all in these 3 trends, I'm sure that Maratha Chamber of Commerce can help industry, can help startup ecosystem, can help innovators to grow. When we say electronic manufacturing, deep tech, naturally their input could be the semiconductor manufacturing, it could be fabless design, it could be new innovators which is working on innovations, new innovations. These will all contribute to the electronic manufacturing, and therefore this semiconductor ecosystem conference is very right time and very apt for today's technology scenario. We at STPI have also large presence in Maharashtra. We have our center at this place, Pune. We have Kolhapur, Aurangabad, Nasik, Mumbai, and Nagpur. And these all centers are providing all sort of services for soft tech certification. And we are also have 2 center for entrepreneurship, where we are nurturing startups with all 360 degrees, whether it comes to mentoring, funding, or connect, providing them to Global Connect. All these facilities we are providing at our Center for Entrepreneurship. We have 2 COEs in Maharashtra, one at Pune, we called as Motion, where we are supporting on ACS, which is on automation in automobiles. And similarly, we have one at Akola, it's named as FASL, which is on agri-tech, and we other Center for Entrepreneurships are also in pipeline for the Maharashtra. We have also approved, MIT has approved one project on EMC at Ranjangaon near to Pune, which is around 492 CR, which is also in progress. An STPI registered unit has given the software export from this Maharashtra, which is 1.74 lakh crore, which is around 20% of the whole country export, which is around 9 lakhs of the crore. I am sure with this kind of the intervention of these Maharashtra Chambers of Commerce and the kind of enthusiasm we can see in this hall, this is bound to grow. With this, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now would like to announce that Mr. Ajay Srivastav, DG STPI, and Mr. Prashant Girbane, DG MCCIA, will be signing a MOU for Center of Excellence on Semiconductors in the presence of Mr. S. Krishnan, Secretary MAITI, and Mr. Deepak Karandikar, President MCCIA, and other dignitaries. Thank you. I now invite Mr. S. Krishnan, IAS Secretary MAITI, to deliver the inaugural address.
Good morning to all of you. Shri Deepak Karandikar, President of the Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industries and Agriculture. I think it's very significant that agriculture is part of the title of the Maratha Chamber. My colleague in the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Shri Sanket Bhondwe, Shri Arvind Kumar, DG STPI, Shri Pradeep Chandran, Additional Development Commissioner, Department of Industries in the Government of Maharashtra, Shri Prashant Girbane, Director General of MCCIA, and Mr. Sanjeev Keskar, Convener of the Semiconductor Ecosystem Conference. I must say that for a number of reasons, I'm very happy and proud to be present amongst you this morning. I think it's a significant honor. Visiting the Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, and interacting with their leadership, and even visiting this very building explains many things to me. Why is Maharashtra the largest state economy in the country? Why is it the most industrialized state? Why is it such a successful and prosperous state? And why is Pune such an important business center? You know, very often the approach that is taken to management, approach that is taken to administration or any kind of organization that we try to manage, figure out something, look at something that actually works, look at something which is actually good, understand why it works, understand why it does well, and try and apply those principles elsewhere. Visiting Pune and visiting this particular chamber, the importance of appreciative inquiry was brought back to me. My first interaction was on the functioning of the electronic component park that is run by MCCIA. And quite honestly, I've been exposed to a large number of clusters, to a large number of places where people claim to set up clusters and want to do a variety of activity, and often either fail or are never able to be really successful. The brief presentation I saw illustrated to me why or what it takes, the conditions it takes for success. They've set up a cluster facility which works, a cluster facility which is well governed, which is fully utilized, which provides for industry exactly the kind of facilities that they need, and is run truly for the benefit of all the industries and members in that area. It's only when you see a facility of that nature that you realize what others lack or where they fail and why they need to learn these important lessons. And this is a cluster which has succeeded despite the government not having supported it in a timely manner the way they ought to have. The government supported it, but as always, there's somewhere something goes wrong, and then luckily I think we are back on track, but there are issues at times. I highlight this. It's the same thing. I was conversing briefly with the Additional Director of Industries and Commerce, Mr. Pradeep Chandran, and I was telling him that, for states like Maharashtra, the most important thing is you don't have to really bother to go. I can let you in on this. Maharashtra's presence in the World Economic Forum in Davos, they hire one of the biggest, pavilions which any state has. I've seen that myself, and there's a fairly large presence. I don't think you even have to do that. All that you need to do is take care of the industries which are already here. By word of mouth, it spreads. And more and more people will want to come in and invest. The momentum and the size is so large that automatically it will take care of itself. If at all there's a challenge, the challenge is to spread it out from the Mumbai-Pune belt to other parts of the state. That is really the challenge that a state like Maharashtra faces, and it's a good challenge to face. You have enough inherent strength to take care of it. That doesn't mean that people rest on their laurels. It only means that you need to address the segments of the economy which need to be addressed at a given point in time. And which brings me to the context of today's conference and today's workshop, which is on semiconductors. And this is an emerging area. This is an area where there needs to be significant growth in the country, something that we are specifically targeting. And Maharashtra, as the leading industrial state, necessarily has to play its role and has to have a presence in this critical sector. We've come a long way. It's been many, many years that we've actually wanted a semiconductor fab in this country. The public sector, about 15 years ago, or almost 20 years ago, 15, 18 years ago, we had a big American company almost on the verge of setting up an ATMP plant in India. At that point, the whole thing fell apart simply because we could not countenance, in the government of India at that stage, we could not countenance the idea of a large grant or a subsidy for a facility of this nature, something that practically every other government was already paying, including state governments, governments of various states in the United States. I was personally witness to the fact that the that particular facility could not be located in India because the difference was just about their expectation of $100 million in terms of a grant from the central government. And at that point, the policies would not allow that. Subsequently, the policies were revised, and 2012, the first of the major electronic policies came in, and that included support for semiconductors, but it took another 10 years at least before the first semiconductor investment in India could actually be grounded. And today, far from $100 million, we are prepared to, the government of India is prepared to put down, has already put down $10 billion, and will probably have to put down more money also in the future to support this. Now, in the semiconductor space itself, why is it important for India? I think India is too large a country, too big a country to be completely dependent on semiconductors which come from elsewhere. Many of you would recall during the pandemic, and I certainly recall this, many car companies were not able to finally ship their cars out simply because they did not have the chips which go into various parts of the electronics. And semiconductors really go into practically every kind of electronics that operate. We use them all over the place increasingly, and not just in mobile phones or computers or laptops. We use them in a range of operations. It's part of everything that we do today. That being the case, I think it's very important and essential that we have to have a manufacturing capacity. We have to have that entire capacity within the country. It's a matter of resilience. It's not a matter of competitive advantage. And it's not just India, but again, practically every country in the world that subsidizes such facilities being set up in their area. The total quantum of subsidies which, say, the United States or the European Union or Japan are willing to pay out for newer semiconductor units to be established in their countries actually dwarfs the total budget that we set apart. In spite of which, I can honestly assert that the package of incentives that India has provided currently are probably the most generous in the world. At 50% of the capital cost of a semiconductor plant, plus the state governments chipping in with about 20 to 25%, I think it's one of the most attractive packages that can be given out. But what we have realized, and we have been reasonably successful in putting all this together. The government of India committed 76,000 crores for the India Semiconductor Mission in the first phase. We have committed roughly about 70,000 crores of that money for various programs already. But what we have realized while doing this is that there are still more things that we need to do, particularly with the ecosystem. We tend to focus on large fabs, we tend to focus on large ATMP plants. Those are the big things which need to come together, but there's a whole ecosystem that needs to develop around it. There are probably about 250 to 300 suppliers which are needed of various kinds of materials, various kinds of gases, various other requirements, the equipment, each of those equipment being manufactured, pieces of equipment being manufactured by a number of different manufacturers, high precision manufacturing which needs to take place, all the way down to having enough laundries who will actually launder the bunny suits that the workers in the clean rooms wear. So a lot of things need to come together for a functioning semiconductor ecosystem to really develop. And in the next phase of the semiconductor mission, certainly all of those aspects also need to be given adequate attention and will be looked at. Having said that, I think we also need to pay attention to the various segments of this industry. We tend to look at it as one unvariegated industry, which is not so. Mr. Keskar, when he spoke of compound semiconductors. There is a requirement of display fabs. There is a requirement of MEMS and various other sensor-related semiconductor equipment. Many of those investments are not as massive or as large as what we need for memory chips and logic chips. Those investments are on a scale which can take place not just in one or two clusters, but across the country in different locations. So that's an important chunk. The second thing where India has a huge advantage, and I think that's something we need to work on, most of them work for companies, overseas companies. I don't know, I didn't see it in Pune this time, but whenever you drive through parts of Bangalore or parts of Hyderabad, you have Qualcomm, AMD, Intel, all of them with their boards all over because they are the big design centers which are located out of here. There are also a number of design startups, which is again a very good and healthy sign. The only problem is very quickly they get swallowed up by the other big multinational companies which are in the design space. So what we are really looking to, at least in this country, is to see whether we can have Indian designed semiconductor chips and semiconductor products, which then go to hold their market. And I specifically look at Mr. Sandeep Kumar, who's in the audience. They are one of those who are, and he is going to speak to you in a session later today, and they are precisely attempting to do that. So semiconductor design and having products from India, which will be available globally, and which is a company which is Indian, and an Indian product will be a very significant and important event for India in its semiconductor journey. And that's, again, something that we need to seriously work on. So this is the way the entire semiconductor industry would have to play out. This is not a, we just set up one unit and we walk away from it. This is a long journey. It's going to be 10 to 15 years slog at least before the whole thing gets established and we really become a power to reckon with in this sector. It will take long-term effort. It needs long-term players to put their best efforts into this. And it's good to see a number of Indian business houses coming up. It's good to see established centers like Pune getting into this area because this is where I think we need, and business houses in Pune, the Maratha Chamber of Commerce, all of you have proved that you're in it for the long term. You've been around for 90 years. You've established a number of facilities. You've been able to run it in a way that really matters. And all of that is going to be very significant in the road ahead. So we need to apply ourselves to this task for 10 to 15 years. Today we are talking up the initial successes, but those are not adequate. There's a lot more work to be done in this area. There's a lot more that we need to actually focus on, and we've not been in this area of high precision manufacturing. We are not known for this. It is not easy. And there's going to be a huge amount of skilling which will have to take place, huge amount of work that needs to take place in this. Just as I said that we have 20% of the design skills, at which we are very good, but the manufacturing skills in the semiconductor space is something that India lacks. And the manufacturing skills are something that we need to seriously build up. And there again, existing industrial centers where there is a culture of an industrial workforce who are able to actually work on shop floors and establish this will have a huge contribution to make. And places like Pune will definitely have a key role in actually training the human resources needed for this industry. And I expect that that effort is something that your association with STPI in terms of having a center of excellence and with other agencies of MeitY, for instance, CDAC is based out of Pune. So all of these entities, I think MeitY would like to work in close collaboration with all of these entities and with the government of Maharashtra to make sure that we are able to build the human resource base we need for the semiconductor industry as well, out of existing resources that are available here. So I think all of this is going to contribute to our success in this area. And this is one of those spaces where we simply can't afford to fail. This is one of those areas where we must have a presence and we must get it done to make sure that, you know, we are able to contribute significantly in the process of nation building. It's not like the rest of electronics. Having said that, I'd also like to add an appeal to the ecosystem here in Pune that an important area of work for the ministry next is to deepen our electronics ecosystem as well. I mean, if you take any electronics product, there are, you know, a number of parts to it. There is the assembly part, which is the final part before the final product comes out. There's a significant part of the bill of materials, which is the semiconductors, which we have just spoken of. But then there are lots of other things which constitute about 50 to 60% of the value of an electronics product, which are not semiconductors. And that again is an area where I think a lot of work needs to be done. We have to deepen that, that particular space of manufacturing components in India, simply because today what is happening, and many of you are aware that our electronics exports are going up significantly. Electronics manufacture in the country is rising, but we are also importing most of the components. So what we're doing is the final assembly stage of putting together a lot of electronics, which again, even for a moment, I would not say that it is not important. It is very important because that's where the largest number of jobs are generated. I mean, you have some of those factories here in Pune as well. Jabil and others are located here, and I'm sure they are big employers in this area. Likewise, in other parts of the country, the ESDM industry, the EMS players are big employers, and they provide a lot of jobs, and that's very significant. But having said that, if they have to continue to operate in the country, and if they have to continue, India needs to be competitive in the electronic sector, then it's important that the electronic component ecosystem also develops in India, and we are able to significantly increase the proportion of value addition that takes place in India in the electronic sector. And for that, I think established electronics clusters like Pune will play a very, very important role in taking up component manufacture and making sure that a significantly larger proportion of the component manufacture takes place in the country. And that's something which MeitY is seriously working on and trying to put together an overall scheme which will support electronics component manufacture in the country. And together, all of this, and especially from places like Pune, big clusters like Pune, we'd be able to build a big success story around electronics where from the present 18 to 20% of value addition which takes place in the electronic sector in the country, and which is not insignificant, I would once again assert. And we need to realize that electronics are a global value chain. They fly all over the world. Yesterday when I landed in Pune, I realized, I was informed that the new airport terminal had just been inaugurated yesterday, so you now have a new spanking new airport, and most of the electronics value chain actually operates through air cargo, and there's no reason why you can't be an important chunk of that global value chain. And the value addition on electronics products in India needs to go up from about this 18 to 20%, almost double, to about 35 to 40% in the coming years in order for India to continue to be competitive. And not only do you have to manufacture the components for use in final products which are assembled in India, but you need to manufacture those components for wherever these products are being assembled. Because only if you're able to manufacture the components competitively, the only proof of that is if you're able to export them. So to that extent, I think we really need to become a significantly larger component manufacturer and increase this value addition in the country. So that becomes another important goal in the electronics manufacturing. And the last point, at least as far as city like Pune again is concerned, which is important for this area and for other clusters, say in Aurangabad and other parts of Maharashtra, is engineering R&D. And that's the other big expanding space. Pune is already a big center for global capability centers and other engineering R&D which is being performed. Indian companies also need to expand their footprint in terms of the R&D that gets done, their investments in R&D, and likewise, if we are looking for better and better jobs for Indian youth, and given their levels of skill, I think there's a huge opportunity in the GCCs and in the engineering R&D space, and that is again something that I would urge the government of Maharashtra to actively promote. And actively, you have many advantages in many of your cities where there's good living conditions, a lot of talent available, and certainly that's something which needs to be encouraged. And these are clearly spaces, if we work on, then there's no reason why electronics should not become the largest manufacturing sector in India as it is across the globe. And we, as a country, really take on our justified position as what the Prime Minister calls a Viksit Bharat. And there's no reason why that can't be done. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for the patient listening.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Ajit Chikteri, Group Head SEDG, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning and a very pleasant and a happy morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. As we conclude the inaugural session of the Semiconductor Ecosystem Conference 2024, it's my honor to have this opportunity to express our sincere thanks on behalf of MCCI and SEDG, that is Semiconductor Ecosystem Development Group. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed dignitaries who have graced the first of this kind of program in Pune dedicated specifically to semiconductor ecosystem with their presence and a very insightful opening remarks. Thanks for that. I would like to thank Mr. Krishnan, Secretary MIT, Mr. Arvind Kumar, Director General of STPI, Mr. Sanket Bhonwade, Joint Secretary for MIT, Mr. Pradeep Chandran, Additional Development Commissioner, Department of Industries, Government of Maharashtra, Mr. Sanjeev Keskar, who have been kind enough to agree to become a convener for this whole program. Then Mr. Deepak Karandikar, MCCI President, and Mr. Prashant Girmane, DG of MCCI. I'm sure that your presence and words of wisdom have set a very high benchmark for this conference, and sure to inspire us all to think and act more deeply about setting up of the semiconductor ecosystem in and around Pune and rest of Maharashtra. I would like to express a very high appreciation to all our speakers, which you will be hearing after the tea break, panelists, moderators who have taken the time to share their knowledge and perspective on this particular topic. Your contributions are well respected and for sure will lead to a very productive discussions and takeaways for throughout the day. A big thank, I must thank to all our sponsors and partners for their generous support, without which this conference would not have become very successful. So our main sponsors, RRP Electronics, supported by ISA, SCDG, Motion, MECF and Auto Cluster. So thanks to all of them. Our appreciation also goes to the industries who have taken a lot of efforts to put out stalls there, showcasing their products and services like software STPI, RRP Electronics, MECF, Tata Capital, Bry Air, Craftonics India's, Cement Training and Consulting, Auto Cluster Development and Research, Kotak Mahindra, and Kaizen Electric Private Limited, and of course MCCI and SCDG. So, and I cannot forget to thank to our organizing committee, volunteers, and the entire team at MCCI and SCDG. Your hard work and dedication have made this event possible, which was required to be done at a very short notice. Thank you for all your meticulous and seamless execution. Thanks a lot. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind. Thank you very much. And we would like to break for a tea and would request all of you to be back by 11:30. You can please visit the stalls as well. Thank you very much.